Hello, welcome to A VO's Journey. My name is Anthony, and this show is about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artists grow their business, sidestep all the crazy things that I seem to step on. Happy Friday. It is the 17th of January. Today I want to talk about acting, and I want to talk about something that I think is changed in the way we are or that clients are looking for when it comes to performances. Now, as always, this is my opinion and I can tell you after doing this for a long time, you're going to get a lot of different opinions in this business, and in the end it's up to you to decide how your best style is. Because I say that because everybody's journey is different, and my experiences have led me here. So with that disclaimer, let's go ahead and dive into what I believe has changed a lot in the acting world, especially in the speech patterns. Okay, so when I first started out, there was, and it's not like it's been 20 years ago, but it's been about 8 years now. But when I first started out about 8 years ago, there was still this big focus on slowing down, right? Slowing down your narration, talking slower, making sure that, every word is understood, but to do it at a pace where we're not speaking quickly. Okay. And so that, especially in e-learning, corporate, long form narration, audiobooks, etc., but just in general, slow down. We don't want to go fast. And over time, right? If you notice over the last 8 years or so, or since then, I guess it's 8 years. This whole idea of being conversational has become the number one. I mean, it's become just now expected that we are conversational and our style and our tone, no matter what. In fact, to the point where conversational is no longer a a particular style. It's just the expectation before the style they want you to do it in, right? And so it's become more about how we just deliver voiceovers in general, how we speak. So when we first when social media especially and commercials and everything started to come together, I believe, in the last 20 years, you could see that things were very presentational, very beautiful. Everything was manicured and perfectly done. Everyone looked perfect online. All the pictures were perfect. Everything was staged. It was still very TV-esque. But as the years have gone by, leading up to now, we have rejected that so much to the point where, influencers, our lives, we want to see real. We want to see realness. We want to believe. We want to see the raw stuff. We want to see a person talking. We want to see what's happening behind the scenes. We don't want to just see the flashy fakeness anymore. And I think that's because we're using our phones so much to view the world. We need or we want to see as real as possible through a device where we're not there. Anyways, I think that's changed so much about how we view things. Because of that, I believe it's changed how we want to hear people speaking, or we hear voiceovers, to the point where, if you haven't noticed this, take some time and think. You will have noticed that voiceovers seem to have sped up some. And I mean that to the point whereas, it's always been said, right? Americans, we speak fast. We don't stop and pause very much, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe it's this thing where we're always trying to get the last word in or something. But whatever it is, we conversational talking or talking with a friend or just speaking normally like I'm doing now, there's not necessarily so much pausing, so much inflection, because when I think of British accents, it's very different than an American accent. And the speed in which we narrate, I've noticed that a lot of people I work with, voice actors, one of the things that we do when we're breaking down, how we're narrating, what we're saying, how we're voicing spots, we have to start with the speed, the pitch variation, the pausing, the elongating and shortening words, right? Volume, pitch, these are all modes of expression. We start to break down these modes of expression, and I often find that we're going very slow in our narration. Now, some of that could be the way you read, right? Because reading quick, being able to read quickly, process that, being able to speak quickly is one thing. Now, when I say quickly, and this is important, when I say speed up, of course I'm not talking like you're talking like I'm not talking like that. I'm meaning like kind of how I'm talking now. Right? I'm not talking slow like this, and this is how a lot of people narrate, and they talk like this. There might be occasions where that's important, but generally we talk like this. We talk at this pace. And that pacing is more important than ever because people are expecting to hear you speak like you would normally be spoken to, or you speak to people. They want to hear that realness in your voice. And especially because of AI and because of that whole new world that's been thrust upon us, it's important that we are more real than ever. And part of being real is speaking at an appropriate pace. Again, there is always exceptions to the rule of certain story types, certain commercial spots, things that are written a certain way. Of course, there's always performances that are going to vary. But in general, even with long form narration, especially with the type of writing today, and even when we're doing classic work, it's for, you got to remember, it's for the audience of today. So unless we're doing classic work, and the point of the classic work is to also be classic in the delivery, we are going to speed up some. We're going to talk more at a normal pace, like I'm talking now. And what's crazy is when you listen to like me speaking, you don't think that it sounds fast because it's just normal. It's just how I speak. But if you start to narrate and you would put like a beats per minute on something and everything, you would find that, the speech slows down for most people when they narrate. Are there some extreme cases where people speed up too fast? Of course. All right. And there's sometimes where people slow down like ridiculously slow. Okay. But generally what I find is that where people really struggle with this is not just their speeding up, but their speed variation. Speeding up, slowing down, the pausing, then the pausing before and after words. That's very difficult because what I find that a lot of people do now is they speak more at a slower pace with their words. They elongate their words more. And because they're doing that, then they need to pause. So the whole piece is really drug out. You know what I mean? Instead of saying, reading the text, saying what you have to say, making the pauses where you're supposed to pause, and then moving on to the next thing. It definitely feels different than it was when I came in. And I'm sure for the people who've been in a lot longer than me, that's been a big change too. Right? And I think it's also because we are so used to podcasts. We're so used to listening now audio where people are talking like I'm talking right now. Do you know what I mean? They're just talking at this pace. So that's something that you've got to consider as a voice actor. Am I approaching my voiceovers like 10, 15, 20 years ago? Or am I approaching them from a standpoint of how we are listening to audio now today? From podcasts, from shows online, from influencers, from TikTok and Instagram and X, all these, are we, reels. Because remember, reels changed a lot too. You know what I mean? TikTok, story reels, or like you have reels on Facebook, Instagram stories, all the short form content, YouTube shorts. There's a lot of shorts on the YouTube channel. That changed a lot because they were quick, raw, commercials, basically it's what they are. They're quick, short snippets. And it almost feels a lot of times like short commercials in a way, because they're just short pieces of content, but they're raw. They're from your phone. It's not polished. Sure, there's some out there, but generally speaking, the majority of it is not like that. It's real life. So it's just something to consider when you're trying to get more work, and also, are you able to put together that realness, or are you still in that very flashy, showy type of feel? And I don't want to use the word announcery, right? But I think, you can put, I guess, labels on certain things, but it's more so, is it more real and raw, or does it sound more polished? And I do think there's a place for both. Interestingly enough, AI struggles with sounding like, no matter what happens with AI, they're always going to, it's never going to be able to, at least not in our lifetimes, I believe, really well. I mean, who knows what it'll become. But then we have a real problem, right? It's like the Terminator. But I mean, they're really not fully hard AI, right? It's just algorithms that are regurgitating input that's put into it. It's not coming up with its own new input. So that means that, we always will have a leg up. What I'm just saying is be aware of the raw material that we are constantly being fed every single day, and that's what people expect to hear. So, whenever I listen to a voice, I think, gosh, it's nice to have a voice that is polished, of course, but the more real you can make me feel you are, the more likely is I'm going to want to work with you, because, that's what we're looking for these days. All right. Well, I hope I hope that's given you some food for thought. And again, as always, there's always an exception to the rule. There's always exceptions to the rule, but I think it's a really good topic to think about and discuss. And time, communication changes over time. That's the wonderful thing about spoken languages. They change as well. Trends come and go. Things happen. Languages, grow and change. So, and the way we communicate changes. So, food for thought for your Friday. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and check out VO Journey Academy and also our women's group. It's absolutely wonderful, doing some incredible things over there in Academy, and really building a strong family in voiceovers. So we'd love to have you guys. Have a good one. Happy Friday. Take it easy. Bye-bye.